Good morning, children. Stay safely at home. So, today I am starting the chapter elasticity. So, first thing is, what is elasticity? Elasticity is that property due to which our body try to regain its original configuration, original shape when a deforming force is withdrawn, and when a deforming force is applied on the body to change the shape and size of the body opposes it, is known as the elasticity. All right, so what is the deforming force then? The force which when applied on a body can deform it, means can change its size or shape, is known as the deforming force. All right, now if you consider the property of the elasticity, then depending on how they behave, how the bodies behave, we can broadly classify into three categories. One is perfectly elastic body. Perfectly elastic bodies are those which completely regain its original shape when deforming force is withdrawn. They are known as perfectly elastic body. Like that, perfectly plastic means the body which do not regain its original configuration or shape when the deforming force is withdrawn is known as perfectly plastic bodies. And the bodies which impartially regain the shape or size of the body when the deforming force is withdrawn, they are known as partially elastic or partially plastic bodies. Okay, so you have to learn the definitions of elasticity, definition of deforming force, plastic bodies, elastic bodies, and all. So I wrote the definition of the deforming force, the definition of elasticity, and due to elasticity only the body can regain the original shape or size after removal of deforming force. So you must write all these definitions in your notebook and also learn it. Okay. Then next is coming the definition of perfectly elastic, perfectly plastic, and partially elastic bodies. So, what are the perfectly elastic bodies? The bodies which completely regain, remember they completely regain their original shape or size on removal of the deforming force. They are known as the perfectly elastic bodies. Then what are the perfectly plastic bodies? Which completely remain in their deformed shape or size when shape or size, I have not written, you can write, on removal of the deforming force are known as the perfectly plastic bodies. And there are another kind of bodies which do not change their shape or size on application of the deforming force, means the deforming force unable to change the size and shape of that body. That kind of bodies are known as the rigid body. Alright. So what are the rigid bodies? If the deforming force cannot change the shape or size of the body is known as the rigid body. Alright. So these three definitions, perfectly elastic, perfectly plastic, and rigid body, you must learn and remember. Now if you consider the case of the perfectly elastic bodies, then it has been observed that if you slowly increase the deforming force and if you apply a very large amount of deforming force on a perfectly elastic body, then it may happen that on removal of the deforming force, the body may be unable to retain its original configuration completely. Alright, so there is a limit of elastic property. Clear? So the maximum deforming force up to which the body can retain its original shape or configuration on removal of the deforming force is known as the limit of elasticity, and very important concept of this chapter. So what is the limit of elasticity? I repeat, that is the maximum deforming force up to which the body can retain its property of elasticity is known as the limit of elasticity. Alright. Then the next important topic that you have to know in this chapter is stress. Already in the dimension chapter I told So you see, what is stress? First of all, you have to understand it. So whenever a deforming force is applied within the body, then I said it that when the deforming force is removed, the body regain its original configuration. Alright. So the question arises that how the body regain its original configuration. It means that when the deforming force is applied, then what is happening? The body is deformed. There is a change in its shape. Okay. But when the deforming force is withdrawn, then within the body, internal force is developed opposite to the direction of the applied force, which helps the body to regain its original configuration or shape. Alright. So, this internal restoring force, developed within. So you see, what is stress then? The internal restoring force developed per unit area of the body is known as the stress. Alright. Now here, how much internal force is developed, that you cannot measure directly. So generally, how we measure the stress? We consider that the external force applied and the internal force developed, they are equal in magnitude. So we measure stress by this formula. This is force applied F per unit area. I repeat, what is big F? Force, external force applied, and A is the area of the body. So you see, what will be the SI unit of stress? Already you know it. It will be Newton per meter square. And what will be the dimension? M L to the power minus 1, T to the power minus 2. So whatever information I have written on the whiteboard, important for your exam. So you must copy and learn it and remember it. Now stress we can broadly classify into three types. That is longitudinal stress, volumetric or normal stress, and shearing stress. Now what is longitudinal stress? The stress which is responsible to change the length of the body, that is known as the longitudinal stress. Alright, like that the stress which changes the breadth of the body, that is known as the lateral one. And what is volumetric stress or normal stress? If you apply the force perpendicular to the surface area of a body, then that stress can change the volume of the body. So the stress which is responsible to change the volume of a body, that is known as the volumetric stress. Then next one is shearing stress. Shearing stress is what? The stress which change the shape of the body, keeping the volume constant. Alright. So I repeat, what is longitudinal stress? Which is responsible to change the length of the body. Normal or volumetric stress, 2 points you have to remember. It changes the volume of the body and it is applied perpendicular to the surface of the body. Means normally the force is applied. So the name is normal stress. And why volumetric stress? Because it changes the volume of the body. Then shearing stress means it will keep the volume of the body constant, but it will change the shape of the body. Alright. Then next quantity that you must know is strain. What is strain? Strain is defined as change in dimension of the body divided by original dimension. Okay, how we define strain? It is the ratio of change in dimension of the body divided by original dimension. Alright, so you see, you can have then strain. There are three kinds of strain, just like stress. You may have longitudinal strain. Longitudinal strain means change in length by changing original length or initial length. Anything you can write. You can write original length or you can write initial length. So we write like this. This is delta L by L. L is the original length and delta, you know, delta represent always change in physics. So delta L means change in length by length is known as the longitudinal strain. Another is known as the lateral strain. Lateral strain happens when the body, just you consider, suppose you have taken a thick any thick string. So when you will pull the string from both the direction, you will see that the length of the string will increase and the diameter will decrease. Is that clear? So there is a change in the diameter also. So that change in diameter divided by original diameter is known as the lateral strain. Okay? Lateral strain takes place always perpendicular to the direction of the force applied. So what is lateral strain? Lateral strain we define like this. It is change in diameter divided by original diameter. Okay, this is the way we can define. So you can write delta D by D. Big D represent the original dimension. So here it is diameter, so it is original diameter. Then you may have volumetric strain. So volumetric strain, when it will take place, when the force is applied perpendicularly, means that there will be a change in volume. So what is volumetric strain? Change in volume divided by original volume. So you can write it as delta V by V. Okay, V represent not speed or velocity, V represent volume. Okay, another one is there, that is known as the shearing strain. Shearing strain takes place when there is a change in shape of the body. So the next topic is Hooke's law. Hooke stated that within elastic limits, stress is always directly proportional to strain. Okay, so this is the statement of the Hooke's law, that within elastic limits, stress is directly proportional to strain. So you see, according to Hooke's law, therefore you can write stress by strain, because stress and strain, they are directly proportional. So stress by strain, this will be a constant, and this is known as modulus of elasticity. Alright, stress by strain according to Hooke's law, it is constant and it is known as modulus of elasticity. Okay, this is Hooke's law. Hooke's law is a very important concept in physics. Next is, we have to study the behavior of a string when the string is under the action of an increasing load. Means what you have done? Nothing, very simple experiment. You have taken a string and slowly you are increasing, and you have suspended load from the string. Means you are increasing the load step by step. Means you are calculating the stress and strain every moment, and then you are plotting a graph, stress versus strain graph for the body. Alright. Then if you plot the stress versus strain graph for a body like this, on which you are increasing the load, you are increasing the stress on it step by step, and also at every moment you are measuring the stress and strain and plotting the graph, then the nature of the graph is like this. This graph is very important for your exam, so you must learn and remember every point I am discussing about it. So just you follow the graph. Stress is plotted along y-axis, strain is plotted along x-axis. So from the point O to A, you see it is a perfect straight line. O to A, it is a straight line. What does it mean? From the point O to A, the stress is directly proportional to strain. Means it is obeying the law of proportionality, that is the Hooke's law. Stress is directly proportional to strain. Okay. So OA, if you consider, it is the elastic limit, perfectly elastic the body is. Now what you have done, you see from A to B, you have increased the stress, but in this case stress may not directly proportional to strain, but it is happening that if you at the point B, if you start decreasing the stress, the body will follow the same line and will come back to O. Means when the stress will become 0, strain will also become 0. Is that clear? So the point A is known as limit of proportionality, because till the point A, the graph is a straight line, which indicates that stress is directly proportional to strain. then stress at the point B is the elastic limit, because within this limit stress, and when you are completely withdrawing the stress, strain is becoming 0, and the region OB, it is known as the elastic region. Alright, these points are very important. First is that limit of proportionality. Which point is limit of proportionality? The point A, till which the graph is a straight line. Then stress at point B is known as the elastic limit, because within that point the stress and strain, they are almost proportional, directly proportional to each other. Then O to B, from O to point B, as the body is obeying Hooke's law, it is known as the elastic region. The body is behaving like a perfectly elastic body, so it is known as the elastic region. Then the interesting point is that, you see, from the point B to C, the stress I have increased. You see the graph, it is moving up. So stress increased, but strain is not increased by that same amount. Alright, what does it mean? That at the point C, if one start decreasing the stress, then unlike the point B, the body will not follow the same path. Means it will not follow the path C, B, A to A, O. But it will follow this path, and you will observe that when stress is becoming 0, then OC dash is the permanent strain. A permanent strain is produced within the body. Is that clear? Means from the point C, if you decrease the stress, you see stress is decreasing. Then what is happening? The stress is decreasing, and then the body is reaching the point C dash, not the point O. Okay, what does it mean? That OC dash is the strain when stress is completely removed. Means what? It is the permanent strain produced within the body. So that's why the point C is known as the yield point. Means after that it is becoming perfectly plastic body. Is that clear? After that, you see the stress is increased so much. Stress is increased. I am just drawing this diagram. You don't have to draw. You see the stress is decreased. The stress is, decreased, not stress is increased by this small amount, whereas the corresponding strain, just look at it, so large. So from C to D, you are increasing the stress by a very small amount. But what is happening to the strain? Strain is becoming very large. Is that clear? So the body is not behaving like a perfectly elastic body. Rather, it is behaving like a plastic body. So that's why the CD, from point C to D, it is known as the plastic region. Alright. Now consider the point D. The stress at the point D, it is known as the breaking stress. Why? After the point D, you just look at the graph. The graph is like this. Means it is coming down. What does it mean? You are not increasing the stress anymore. You are decreasing the stress. But what is happening to the string? It is behaving like a fluid. It will just become thinner, 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 and ultimately at the point E, it will break. Okay, so the stress corresponding to point D is known as the breaking stress. And what is breaking stress? The maximum stress a body can tolerate before breaking is known as the breaking stress. And this graph, once again I am reminding you, very important for your exam. So you may have to mark what are the limit of proportionality, plastic region, elastic region, yield point on the graph. Okay, and you may have to draw the graph also. It is a easy and scoring topic, so please do practice it at home. Now, as I already told you that stress by strain is known as the modulus of elasticity, and there are three kind of stress and three kind of strain. So there are three types of modulus of elasticity. The first one is Young's modulus of elasticity, after the name of the physicist Young. So Young's modulus of elasticity is defined as the ratio of longitudinal stress by longitudinal strain. So what will be the longitudinal stress? Force applied per unit area F by A, and what is longitudinal strain? Delta L, change in length, divided by original length big L. So you can write it F into L, F into big L by A into delta L. And if you consider that the force is applied by in terms of a load, just you consider this simple example. Suppose there is a string and a load is suspended from it to it is M. Then what is the force applied in the downward direction? Nothing but weight of the load suspended. So it will be mg. In that case, force will be mg. And what will be the cross-sectional area? Cross-sectional area will be, if r be the radius of the string, pi r square. In that case, Young's modulus, you can write it as mgl by pi r square into delta L. So these are the two expressions for Young's modulus of elasticity. You must remember the formula for solving the numericals. Now next kind of modulus of elasticity is known as the bulk modulus of elasticity. And bulk modulus of elasticity, you have to consider when the force is applied. Look at the diagram, how the force is applied perpendicular to the surface, normal to the surface. Okay, so it is defined as the ratio of the volumetric stress or normal stress by volumetric strain. So volumetric stress you can write force by area, but in this case you see force is applied perpendicularly. So you know that perpendicular force applied per unit area is nothing but pressure. So F by A you can write pressure, and here the volumetric strain is del V by V. Del V is the change in the volume and V is the original volume. So you see what you are getting, P into V by delta V. Is that clear? What is delta V? Change in volume. Now there is another term related with this one that is known as compressibility. What is compressibility? Reciprocal of bulk modulus is known as the compressibility. So compressibility you can have, what is the formula for compressibility? It is delta V divided by P into V. Delta V is the change in volume and P is the pressure applied and V is the original volume of the body. Now next kind of modulus of elasticity is known as the modulus of rigidity. Now modulus of rigidity is defined as the ratio of the shearing stress by shearing strain. And what is shearing stress? I already said, the stress which can change the shape of the body keeping the volume constant. So you look at the diagram. First you consider this parallelepiped, that is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. This was the original structure. Okay. Now look at this, how you are applying the force. You are applying the force tangential to the perpendicular surface. Okay, means if suppose this is the upper surface, you are applying the force tangentially to the upper surface. Then you see what is happening. The upper surface, it is drifted. The upper surface, what was the name of the upper surface? Look at the diagram. A, E, H, B. It was the upper surface. Now when you have applied the force tangentially to the upper surface, the upper surface only drifted to E dash, H dash, B dash, A dash. Is that clear? So you see here A dash, B dash, H dash, E dash, they are same amount. So what is happening due to this shift? The parallelepiped, it was a rectangular, now you see it is looking like a parallelogram. Okay, means the shape has been changed, but what about the volume? Volume is remaining the same. In that case, the strain developed is known as the shearing strain. And shearing strain, how it is measured? Look at the diagram. This was the original length AD, isn't it? And you have applied the force in this direction, due to which the point A shifted to A dash. Alright, so if you join A dash to the original point D, then you see A dash D is making an angle with the original line AD by an angle theta. So it was the line first AD, now it has tilted by the angle theta and has come to the position A dash D. So this angle is the measure of the shearing strain. And so you see, as this angle is very small, so we can write that theta theta is almost equal to tan theta. So from the diagram it is clear, you see tan theta is how much? A dash divided by AD. Alright, so if you can measure A dash and AD, then you can measure what is the amount of the shearing strength. Then shearing stress is force, tangential force applied per unit area divided by this angle theta, which is the measure of the shearing strength, will give you the measure of the modulus of rigidity, and modulus of rigidity is defined by the term Greek letter eta. Alright, so you must learn the Young's modulus of elasticity formally, then bulk modulus of elasticity, then modulus of rigidity, as well as compressibility, because compressibility is another important 1 mark question for your exam. That's all for today. Thank you, girls.